The final gamble of the deep state before January 20. Chaos inside and outside the U.S. The U.S. has faced massive foreign and domestic security challenges during its transitional period. Red Sea tensions. In the Red Sea, Houthi spokesman Yahya Saree announced on January 6 that they targeted the aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman, CVN-75, by launching 2 missiles and 4 drones. Reports confirm that the U.S. carrier strike group was in the Red Sea region as of December 31, 2024. The U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, has not commented on the incident. Middle East escalation. In Syria, the Biden administration, in its final days, has not only refrained from withdrawing US forces as Trump intends, but has also begun preparations for establishing a new military base in Ain Al-Arab, northern Syria, near the Turkish border. This move is seen as a significant provocation to President Erdogan, as Turkey and its proxy Kurdish forces conflict with the US-backed Syrian Kurds. Turkey has recently issued warnings to both the Kurds and Washington, making it clear that it is only a matter of time before they expel US-backed Kurdish fighters from Syria. North Korea provocation. In North Asia, North Korea continues to escalate tensions with missile tests. On January 6, Pyongyang launched a hypersonic missile, its first test of 2025. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff, JCS, reported that the missile traveled approximately 1,100 kilometers into the East Sea, a range sufficient to strike the U.S. base in Guam. The timing of this test coincided with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's visit to Seoul for meetings with South Korean leaders. The U.S. is facing provocations from significantly weaker adversaries. However, the deep state, which appears to be steering the outgoing administration, seems unbothered and even intent on creating further diplomatic instability for the incoming Trump administration. On New Year's Day, the U.S. suffered 2 terrorist attacks, one of which occurred near the Trump Hotel. In a controversial move, the Biden administration released 11 Yemeni detainees from Guantanamo Bay to Oman. Critics have warned that this decision could have severe repercussions for U.S. national security, as all 11 detainees were previously linked to al-Qaeda. Paradoxically, while releasing extremists, the Democratic Party remains resolute in prosecuting Trump. On January 10, New York Judge Juan Merchan will launch what critics have labeled a ridiculous witch hunt, charging Trump for allegedly paying hush money to an adult film star before his 2016 presidential campaign. Politico reports that Trump is expected to be convicted but will avoid jail time. Such a conviction would be a public humiliation for the president-elect and a travesty of justice for the U.S. However, this is not the final trick. President Biden ordered flags to be flown at half-mast in memory of President Jimmy Carter, who passed away on December 29. According to U.S. flag law, a sitting president or former president is honored by flying the national flag at half-mast for 30 days after death. This means the flag will remain at half-mast through January 20, the day Trump is inaugurated. This will create a rare moment when the U.S. flag will be flown half-mast during a presidential inauguration. Notably, the flag code specifies that the half-mast rule is a tradition, not a legal obligation. Therefore, in theory, President Biden could order the flag to be raised for Trump's inauguration, but he has no intention. Trump responded to this decision, saying that no one except the Democratic Party is satisfied with it. We may wonder, does the Democratic Party have other tricks in the final preparations for this vital government transition? The dark forces behind the outgoing administration have been extremely busy obstructing Trump, such as on January 6, when President Biden banned offshore oil drilling along the U.S. coastline and using gas-powered water heaters. All these decisions have received public criticism, making life harder for people in the affected areas. Despite all this, these dark forces are unbothered and openly reveal themselves. This is shown in the award of the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Biden, further exposing the connection between the Democratic Party and the deep state. On January 4, President Biden confirmed the connection between the Democratic Party and the far left by awarding the highest civilian honor in the U.S., the Presidential Medal of Freedom, to George Soros. This is the far-left billionaire we have discussed many times in previous videos. Billionaire Elon Musk, who is about to become the head of the Department of Efficiency in the incoming Trump administration, expressed his dissatisfaction with the award to Soros. Musk called the honor a farce, as Soros and his Open Society Foundation support political interference in other countries, or what is more commonly referred to as color revolutions. The highest civilian honor in the U.S. is typically awarded to individuals who have made exemplary contributions to the prosperity, values, or security of the U.S., bringing peace to the world or other important social, public, or private efforts. However, George Soros seems to have only contributed to the prosperity, values, and security of the Democratic Party, not the United States. Instead of contributing to world peace, Soros's empire has sought to destabilize several countries, from Ukraine, Hungary, and India to African nations. In a White House statement, George Soros is recognized as an investor, philanthropist, and founder of the Open Society Foundation. The White House highlighted his global impact. Through his network of funds, partners, and projects in over 120 countries, Soros has focused on global initiatives to strengthen democracy, human rights, education, and social justice. However, behind this flowery rhetoric is an entirely different story. Soros has been accused of devaluing the British pound, being the cause of the 1997 Asian financial crisis, and leading the stock market crash in the U.S. in October 1997. The list of George Soros's victims continues to grow, including Russia, which faced a financial crisis in 1998 when international speculators attacked the ruble, causing it to lose up to 75% of its value. The book All the Devils Are Here, the best business book of 2010 according to the New York Times, which discusses the 2008 financial crisis, revealed that Wall Street speculators, including billionaire George Soros, were the culprits behind these crises. Soros' various initiatives in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, Latin America, and Africa have led to riots aimed at overthrowing regimes to serve the interests of globalism. In short, Soros is not the defender of democracy and social justice as President Biden praises, but a tycoon with ambitions to intervene in international politics. His Open Society Foundation operates in over 120 countries, and intervenes in nations' internal affairs under the guise of promoting democracy, human rights, and free speech. Soros is known for funding several campaigns for top prosecutor positions in U.S. counties. The shadow state has used the judges and prosecutors funded by Soros to carry out illegal legal battles against opponents, including Trump. But more concerning are his efforts to intervene in other countries politically. In 2020, Soros gave a speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos, publicly criticizing the Indian government and Prime Minister Modi's nationalist policies. George Soros also claimed that Putin was behind many attacks on him and the Open Society Foundation. The reason he gave was that Putin dislikes him due to his criticism of the Russian regime. 2015, the Open Society Foundation was expelled from Russia for security reasons. Not only Putin, but also Hungary's prime minister was in Soros's sights. It should be noted that the policy of opening borders to illegal immigrants flooding into countries is part of Soros's sinister plan, masked under the guise of supporting liberalism. However, the consequences have caused social, economic, cultural, and faith-related chaos, which the U.S. under Obama and Biden has had to endure. Prime Minister Orban accused European leaders of sanctioning Hungary for his stance against immigration, explicitly naming Soros behind it and warning that Europe had succumbed to Soros's network. Soros does not hide that he has many enemies, including the two most famous figures, Donald Trump and Elon Musk. The reason is simple. Putin, Orban, Modi, and Trump are all right-wing nationalist figures, while George Soros has publicly declared that he will promote liberalism. The Soros family has good relations with liberal democratic groups, especially the U.S. Democratic Party. Despite being young, George Soros's sons are active in the Democratic Party's political activities. Alex Soros, George's second son, is a prominent political donor to the Democratic Party and supports the war in Ukraine. The shadow state forces want to create a great reconstruction to implement their plans to restore their new world order. In his Telegram post on November 3, Russian National Security Council Vice Chairman Dmitry Medvedev wrote that the Democratic Party chose Kamala because she is naive, inexperienced, and easy to control. A group will make all of her accurate decisions of top ministers and advisors with the indirect management of the Obama family. And Trump could become a second John F. Kennedy if he changes the rules of the deep state,